Hello there guys, so today I wanted to take a look at this MacBook Air M1 and I thought I'd talk a little bit about why these machines are still worth buying in 2025. Even if they're only the 8GB machines, why they still might be worth buying depending on your use case. I recently bought one of these machines and I used it for over 2 months as my main machine, or daily driver as they call it. And yeah, it's just it's still an amazing machine. You can't really go wrong with this machine. It will surprise you. Let's put it that way. It will surprise you. Even with just 8 gigs of RAM, you'll be surprised on how much and how far you can push this thing. But as far as speed goes, it's still blazingly fast. Like, it doesn't matter if this is a few years old, it really doesn't matter. Single core speed is still really good. Has 4 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores. One of the reasons that this machine to me is becoming more interesting as time goes on is because the price. Now, the price has recently been sinking below 400, so you can get machines for below 400. You know, you can get machines even if you try on auction, you'll probably get them for like 350. Even you'll probably be able to snatch one up for like 350, and it'll probably be in fairly good condition. I got mine for 400, and it was in amazing condition. It lasted ages on battery. I'd never actually wore the battery out, so I don't know how long it would last in one go, but it would last me many days on battery basically. And it didn't have many cycles on the battery, so and there was no scratches or anything, so it was just really good condition. And take it places, I take it out. It was just a really good machine as like a secondary machine to just, you know, just throw in a bag. It's lightweight, it will last ages on battery, it generates no heat, there's no noise, and you can just power it from any USB-C cable. It's just a really nice machine to have. So these machines, they have a larger L1 and L2 cache than the equivalent Intel CPUs at the time, and they have they have an increased memory bandwidth overall, and they have the memory on these machines. When the reason that I feel like 8 gigs isn't as much of an issue is because the memory on these machines isn't the same as it would be on a PC, or at least not for the time. I haven't checked recent x86 PCs, but for the time it was released, like when you compare it to like stuff like Raptor Lake and Comet Lake, the memory efficiency is much better. And so when you're running out of memory on these machines and you start swapping, that swap isn't actually as bad of a problem as it would be on a Windows machine. On a Windows machine, you'd notice that swapping more, I feel like. And the SSDs are fast enough and the memory bandwidth is high enough that the traditional issue of swapping isn't necessarily as bad as it might be on other machines. Now, you can see here I've just got loads of tabs open. I've got some videos playing. I've got 2 web browsers open with multiple tabs in each of them, and there's no immediate slowdown. There's no severe slowdown or severe issues going on. Now, granted, I don't have any VMs running or any IDEs, or I'm not rendering like 4K videos or anything like that. But the point is that if I feel like if you was doing this same test on a PC, you would probably notice a little bit more latency issues and a little bit more slowdown. And so that's why I feel like it's not as bad of a problem on these machines if you do go 8 gigabytes, and it's probably going to be fine for many use cases. Like, you shouldn't necessarily let 8 gigs scare you away, because it really depends on what you're going to be doing. If you have if you're just doing some casual stuff, web browsing, editing, these sorts of things on this machine, maybe a few Docker containers and a few other things, it's fine. Like an IDE is usually fine as well. Like on top of all that, it's not terrible. Like it's not as bad as you might think. There's a few other reasons why the memory usage isn't quite as bad. Like when you start running into memory usage, it's not quite as bad as PC. And another reason is like people overestimate the amount of memory that they think they need, like quite a lot. So you'd be surprised. As for the SSD benchmarks, this machine gets 2,774 megabytes a second on the reads and 2,572 megabytes on write, which is identical to the MacBook Pro M1, and it's basically the same as the MacBook Pro 2019 Intel model that I tested. The CPU, the Geekbench 6 scores, I got 2,397 on single core and 8,693 on multi-core, which is basically identical to the MacBook Pro M1. So this is the thing with these two machines, the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air M1. They're basically identical in many ways. So there you can see the 2019 Pro next to the 2015 Pro. So the Air with its lack of fan, you know, beats the 2019 Pro, which is just crazy. Yeah, so on the graphics score, I got 19,631 on the OpenCL test, which is pretty good. For a passive machine, it's amazing. Passively cooled silent machine, it's just crazy. So yeah, these machines, as you can see, I have both the Pro and the Air M1. They're both amazing machines. And if you can get the Air, now that it's come down in price and it's going below 400, and even below 350, it's well worth looking out for one of these machines if you're considering a second machine and you just want like you want a Mac as your secondary machine or something. Then these machines are well worth considering. As a primary machine, obviously you can get one, but just make sure you go for the 16 gigs. Anyways guys, I will see you in the next video.